What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix race review. Let's get right into it. So, obviously, the first thing that we'll be talking about is the lap one, turn one incident in between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. Um, it's very controversial because some people are saying Verstappen was never going to make the corner. Some people are saying he was going to make the corner. On the onboard, it seems like he definitely was not going to make the corner. And it was definitely Piastri's corner, I think, and I think the penalty was justified. I think they said it was only a 5 second penalty compared to a 10 second penalty because of it being lap one, turn one, and we saw an incident later in the race where it was a 10 second penalty. But I think they need to keep it the same for lap one, turn one, because if it in a different scenario, if a couple things happened differently, Max Verstappen could have won that race because of, it's been a big thing, dirty air throughout the entire season. If he's able to just serve that 5 second penalty and still keep the lead, obviously he can win that race. Also, by the way, we're uh, back behind this wall, the science wall thing. Um, but yeah, I think it definitely should have been a 10 second penalty. I can see why you would think, oh, just a racing incident, but it was definitely Piastri's corner. Um, it wasn't Oscar's fault at all. It was his corner the entire way, and I guess he did what Max Verstappen does to drivers all the time. He he kind of pushed him off the track. He didn't give him room, but Max Verstappen was never gonna make that corner in any world because he was still turning the steering wheel left um, while he was off the track. So yeah, he was never gonna make that corner. And so obviously another hot topic is Oscar Piastri is now leading the championship by 10 points. I think it definitely is too early to make him the clear number one driver. He is on a better run of form right now, but I think, got Miami coming up. I think Lando Norris will get back onto it because he looked fine in the race. Obviously, you'd expect him to be able to overtake Ferraris and Mercedes with the fastest car, but I think he'll get back on track. He's just, I think, in a slump right now, and he's only 10 points off the lead. Um, but I could understand why you would want to make Oscar Piastri number one driver because he's now won 2 races in a row, and I think I saw a thing where it was like he's either been on pole or less than a tenth or 800ths off pole or something like that in every race, which is obviously very impressive. And it looks like he's made up for the lack of qualifying pace that he had last season, and that's why he lost to Lando by 80 points last championship. And so now he's leading the championship because he's gotten his qualifying form. His race pace was always a bit slower than Lando, but it wasn't it was pretty negligible. Um, but now he's gotten his qualifying form better, and he's been on pole last race in Bahrain, and he won there, and he's been on the front row here in Saudi, and he won there. And so he's looking very good. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the world championship this year, but I still think Lando is the better driver. Anyways, let's get into Ferrari. Charles Leclerc's first podium of this season for Ferrari, not including Lewis Hamilton's China sprint win. Um, I definitely think maybe in the future, in the near future, Charles Leclerc can be competing for wins, especially because since, you know, the McLarens, they they are both good drivers, but they're not like if they were in the Red Bull in 23, they wouldn't have won all races but one. They would have dropped to a few more than that because only they make mistakes. Both of the McLaren drivers have made mistakes this season, and that's the reason why they haven't won every race. Is because they've made mistakes, and so um, I think that Charles Leclerc can maybe compete for some wins because of McLaren's mistakes and also because you see um, the lap one, turn one incidents between Max Verstappen and the McLarens. I think it's pretty inevitable that either Max Verstappen is going to crash with a McLaren or the McLarens are going to crash with each other at some point. And so I think Charles Leclerc and George Russell are the two drivers that are like in the tier below Max and the McLarens right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if Leclerc or Russell is able to pull off a win pretty soon. The Sonoda Gasly incident, it's not, it wasn't really anyone's fault. It's just a lap one incident, in my opinion. But it took both of them out of the race, and they were in points playing positions in midfield cars, so that's pretty unfortunate for them. But Tsunoda's looking good. Pierre's looking good. I wouldn't be surprised if um, they're back in Miami and in the front playing positions, like fighting for best of the rest. Aston Martin, come on, man. I'm an Aston Martin fan. We look terrible. Fernando looked all right. Obviously, almost getting crashed into by Gabriel Bortoleto. Um, but Fernando finishing P11. He'll score some points soon. It's Fernando. He won't not score points. But Aston Martin, I saw that they're focused solely on 2026 and the new regulations. So hopefully they'll be able to do something next season. All right, predictions outlook. I predicted P3 George Russell, he was P5. I predicted P2 Piastri, he was P1. And I predicted P1 Lando Norris, and he was P4. So not really too close on that one away with Piastri. Um, and now on to Carlos Sainz. He's looked very good the past couple of races, his unfortunate DNF in Bahrain, but he was able to score some points, some good points, finishing P8 in that Williams. So he's now scored 5 points, I believe, this season, and he looks good in the car. He looks better than Albon in the car, like we thought he would this season. So everyone's thinking, oh, he's cooked. He's cooked after one race of not finishing in the points because he literally finished in the points um, in the second race. Although it was with some Ferrari shenanigans with the DSQs and Pierre getting disqualified as well. But he looks good now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a crazy podium like on one, like I mentioned earlier, on one of the races where Max or the McLarens crash into each other. And Lawson slightly improving. I'll touch on that later in the driver ratings. And so that's it for me for this summary portion and opinion portion. And so let's get into the driver ratings. All right. Welcome to F1 Driver Ratings Saudi Arabia edition. Um, Starting off with Gabriel Bortoleto, qualified 20th, finished 18th, last of the finishers, almost crashed out his manager. I am going with a 4 out of 10 for Gabriel Bortoleto. Right, Nico Hulkenberg, qualified 18th, finished 15th. For me, he showed some signs of life. Obviously, they didn't show him because he was at the back in a dustbin, but for me, it's a 6 out of 10. All right, Alex Albon, qualified 11th out in Q2, just barely missed out in Q3, finished 9th, and it is an 8 out of 10. Obviously, didn't go up positions other than people crashing ahead of him, and he was slower than Carlos Sainz. But it, P9 in a Williams is still pretty good. Maybe they're the fifth fastest car now, so that's maybe where they're supposed to be. But for me, it is an 8 out of 10. All right. Carlos Sainz qualified sixth, finished eighth. For me, it's a 9 out of 10. Best of the rest. Um, he's looking great, as I said before. Carlos Sainz looking great the past couple races, and I think he'll just go up from here. All right, Liam Lawson qualified 12th, finished 12th. It's a 5 out of 10 for Liam Lawson. Obviously, not where he wants to be. He wants to be up there scoring points where Hadger is, and even supposed to be beating Hadger, um, in my opinion. Um, but qualifying 20th, it's better than qualifying 20th, that's for sure. And it's a 5 out of 10 for Liam Lawson. Ollie Behrman qualified 15th, finished 13th. 5 out of 10 for me. Pretty quiet race from Behrman. Had some fights with Ocon, I believe, or was it Stroll? I don't quite remember, but he did go up 2 positions from the crashes ahead, and it is a 5 out of 10 for me. Right, Esteban Ocon qualified 19th, finished the race 14th. It is a 4 out of 10 for me. Out in Q1, can't really do anything with that. Um, yeah, it's 4 out of 10. Not really much to say there for Ocon. He needs to be better than Ollie Behrman right now. All right, Jack Doohan qualified 17th, finished 17th. It's 3 out of 10. Um, Not really much to say here for Jack Doohan. Some people are coming for his head. The Argentine fans want Colapinto in now. But yeah, it's 3 out of 10 for Jack Doohan. Pierre Gasly qualified ninth, did not finish the Grand Prix. Oh, these lap one victims are hard to grade, but I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 for Pierre Gasly. We don't know the true pace of the Alpine really because Doohan's down, Gasly's up. But I think it is a bit better because of last weekend. Doohan was looking fairly well there for a little bit. And for me, it is a 7 out of 10 for Pierre Gasly. Right. Lance Stroll qualified 16th, finished 16th. It's a 4 out of 10 for Lance Stroll. He's the bad car and a bad driver pairing. It's not good for me, to be honest. So it's a 4 out of 10. He needs to be finishing near where Fernando is finishing, and 5 places off is not close. So it's a 4 out of 10. Fernando Alonso qualified 13th, finished 11th. It's 6 out of 10. For me, obviously, got into Q2, almost into points. But the car is just not good. Fernando's doing his best out there, and it's a 6 out of 10. Maybe he can get some points soon. All right. Now the Mercedes boys, Kimi Antonelli qualified P5, finished the race P6. It is a 7 out of 10 for me. Both Antonelli and Russell both had quiet races. Pretty clean though. Did fairly well. And for me, for Kimi Antonelli, it's a 7 out of 10. George Russell qualified third, finished fifth. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. Again, quiet race. Not really much to say there. Drove well. It's an 8 out of 10. That's about where fifth is about where he should be finishing. Um, Obviously, both McLaren's ahead of him. Max Verstappen ahead of him. Charles Leclerc ahead of him. I mean, it's a decent race. 8 out of 10. Yuki Tsunoda qualified 8th. Did not finish. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. He's adjusting to the car well. And I think he would have finished in the points if he did finish the race. And you can say what you want if you think the incident is his fault or not, but for me, it's an 8 out of 10. Max Verstappen qualified first, finished second. For me, it's a 9 out of 10 because he shouldn't, the car itself should not have been on pole in the first place, so that's why it's so high. But also, it's not a 10 out of 10 because he could have won the race if he got a good start. He kind of pulled a Lando Norris there, bottling it at the start. But he still finished second, so it's a 9 out of 10 for Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton qualified seventh, finished seventh. It's a 6 out of 10. Sorry. Um, he just has to be better. Yeah, once he gets on grip with the car, he'll be fine. I think he's just taking a little longer than I think some people expected, and so it is a 6 out of 10 for Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc qualified fourth, finished third, 9 out of 10. Best result of the team so far in a Grand Prix. First Ferrari podium. I think it is a 9 out of 10. Oscar Piastri qualified second, finished first. It's a 9 out of 10 for Oscar Piastri. Anyone to get a 10 in the fastest car, you need to be on pole and win the race. So if he was on pole, it would be a 10 out of 10. But for me, it is a 9 out of 10 for Oscar Piastri. Right. Lando Norris qualified 10th, finished fourth. 6 out of 10 for Lando Norris. Um, he needs to be on pole position or on the front row at least. And he needs to be on the podium. And both Oscar and Lando need to be on the podium in every single race in the fastest car. And so for Lando Norris, he needs to stop bottling it in qualifying. It's kind of the opposite of last year when he was, going on pole on the front row like every race it felt like, and then, bottling the start, making a mistake, going into the gravel. And now it's the opposite. He's doing fine in the race, but bottling it in qualifying. And so for me, it is a 6 out of 10 for Lando Norris. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.